Welcome back to another episode of WittyBantr. Your hosts Nabil and Daniel are here, and we're missing Anika Rana.
A lot of people.
Yes.
No guest.
Now
No.
and no guest. Yes. Time to just
us.
relax.
Chillax.
Um,
So.
let's just take a seat here. I've been working, trying to fix this computer thing. My computer makes a very loud, whiny noise.
It's like a wee.
Yeah, when it's under load. I thought it was a graphics card, so I bought a new expensive graphics card that didn't fix it, and I can't return it.
Yeah, it was a conundrum. Because you tested pretty much the power supply and the graphics card in like multiple configurations.
Yes.
Do you think this is more challenging or more frustrating than the coding? Like if you ran into a problem while you're coding, or do you think it's less?
Yeah, it's equal, and maybe the only thing about more frustrating is that like coding
doesn't cost.
You know, I don't need to wait 2 days to get a part.
Yeah.
And yes, coding also doesn't cost me that much.
Every mistake doesn't cost you or whatever.
Monies, yes. So I'm ordered a power supply. Hopefully it
works.
Hopefully it solves the problem.
If not,
that's it. Just I'll have to deal with the coil
switch
noise.
to Mac.
No, I'm
Never.
not doing that.
We also went to a comedy show on Friday. It was your first one live.
Theo Vaughn, yeah. It was
Well-
okay. It was okay. I saw Dave Chappelle at the Mountain View Shoreline Amphitheater, and that was like a larger audience. So this one was a bit more cozy, which is cool, but
Do you think this one was better? But like, still, it's like you'd rather just watch it on YouTube at the comfort of your own home.
yes, because it's a hit or a miss. You know, it's
Mm.
like maybe they'll say jokes that make you laugh, maybe they won't.
Yeah.
Chances are it's somewhere in between.
Yeah, I will say like the first half was pretty funny for me. Like not the first opening act, but the two after that, and then his like the first half of his set, I was having some belly laughs. But would you say like for the most part you weren't laughing?
Yeah, for the most part, I was like,
It was whatever.
it was just like whatever. It was like this sounds like I could be listening to him on his podcast.
There wasn't any difference
Yeah.
live versus.
I also feel like I think he does better when he's interacting with people. Like when he interacts with Bobby
that I
Lee.
agree with. Yeah,
For some reason, he's just like way funnier.
he's a lot funnier on his podcast, and then when he's especially more funny for some reason when he's a guest on other people's podcasts, because then they like when they interview him, he has like
I agree.
funny words that he comes up with.
Because the other person will act as it's like the Jake and Amir dynamic. It's like the other person will act as the Jake, the normal person, and then he comes in and like is this weird. His answers are all weird and stuff. So when he's by himself, I mean, I guess
He has funny stories, but like when he keeps doing them one after another, like of stories of people from his childhood town or whatever, it loses like the same impact that it would have like if he just brought it up in the middle of an interview for some reason.
Yeah, I agree.
Like it just loses. It's like, okay, it's just another crazy guy.
Yeah. And then traffic to get there was like
that probably
not nice.
Because me and Faisal went to the Childish Gambino concert, and the fact that the traffic was so bad, like this was like not as bad as when we went to Belgium, but still like
Oh yeah.
to the same degree where it's just like,
This is in
when is this
Oakland?
gonna end? Yeah, it was in Oakland, and we kept. It's so funny because like we go past like an exit, and we're like, should we take this one? There was like a long ass line into that exit. We're like, all right, screw it, we'll wait for the next one. And then the next one comes, we're just like, all right, at some point we're gonna end up in Seattle. Maybe we should just
pick one.
just pick one and bite the bullet. But I feel like whenever there's a traffic jam, it just ruins it doesn't become as fun anymore. Like the event, you're like, was this really worth sitting in traffic for?
Yeah.
Rather than, was this?
Sitting in
event
traffic is just feels like wasted time, you know.
Yeah. Even if you have like something playing in the background.
And if you spend, I mean, How many hours did you spend at the concert? At the actual
It wasn't,
event?
yeah, at the actual event. Probably.
How many hours were you being entertained?
Entertained. Probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe.
So if you're spending the same amount of time to like get there,
it's like
is that worth it?
Yeah, that definitely ruins it. But for some reason, road trips. I mean, I guess cross country.
Road trips are not bad for some reason. Well, it's bad if you're in traffic still.
Yeah.
But it's not bad if you're making progress.
Yeah, distance.
Yeah,
that's for some reason that's more maybe because the views are changing or I
don't
know
what it is. It just feels like you're progressing, so it's like a positive thing. It's like, hey, we're getting there.
Yeah.
Whereas traffic is like, it's a problem. You're not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
There's nothing to solve because it's just traffic. You can't solve it.
Yeah.
So
you just like skip past it. You're just sitting there.
Exactly.
But I guess road trips, it's like, I mean, technically you could just take an airplane and get there like an hour earlier, right?
Yeah, I guess.
So you are kind of wasting time in that sense.
I guess, but it's also way more expensive.
What? Oh, airplane?
If you kept one airplane ticket is not. If you went from San Francisco to New York. But if you went from one to the other, like 5-8 different times.
Yeah, like you road tripping the distance of America, you think that was probably more expensive than buying a ticket?
No.
No?
Same price. If you bought one ticket round trip to San Francisco to New York, round trip, it's the same cost as you driving like one way, I think.
Even with like, well, gas, I guess, yeah. I don't know. Did you even do the calculation to see? Oh, you did? Oh.
I mean, hotels every night was about, call it $100 a night. That's $800. And then gas total, it's about 3,000 miles. So if you say 30 miles a gallon, 30 miles a gallon, that's 100 fill-ups. So, or sorry.
But then you also don't think of like the tires as well and like
all that stuff, depreciation of the car.
Yeah.
But in general, it's about
the same like
price.
At face value.
But again, that's if you went. But that's if you did that plane ticket, there's only one stop.
That's true.
If you stopped at 8 different things in between,
that would be more expensive.
Then it would probably be more expensive.
That's true, I guess.
I also would only do it once because it is pretty exhausting. It's pretty cool. It's cool that you're like, just 2 days ago we were in a totally different state.
Yeah.
And now we're in this state. And you get to see the transitions from the landscape of one state to the landscape of another.
Or the different dialects or whatever.
Yeah, different dialects, different attitudes. And then, like, sometimes you're in the middle of nowhere and it's like, whoa, where am I? You can't get that on an airplane.
Yeah, I've seen some, like, photos of, like, kind of old abandoned towns, but, like, there's people still living there. I'm like, damn, I wonder what I guess they just farm and do whatever, but
yeah.
I was also thinking, so actually this was one of my questions. Since they don't have internet, do you think you are addicted to social media or internet or anything like that? Because you've tried to basically say like, I'm not gonna use
social media, like you watching YouTube videos. Yeah, I would say I'm addicted in the sense that when I have nothing to do, I'll just whip it open and start browsing YouTube videos. Mm-hmm. But being addicted to the internet is like a necessity at this point. It'd be like saying, are you addicted to electricity? Like, yeah, I guess. But well, I kind of need it to see and stuff like that. So, with internet, it's like, yeah, I need it to, the programming is going to help me get a job, emails, also job and paying bills related. So you kind of need it for that. But yeah.
You would say social media, like something you don't need.
YouTube, basically YouTube videos. That's the only app I really use. And then maybe browsing Reddit where I do it too much, where I should be being more productive.
Do you think you could, like, at will, you could argue that, okay, that's what I want to do. Like, I want to watch TV or I want to go hunting. Like, I want to watch YouTube videos. Do you think if you had, like, the willpower to stop, do you think you would have the willpower to stop if, let's say, you weren't interested in it? Like, If you're like, this is kind of a waste of time, I don't want to do it. Do you think after a week you're like, I want to see what's going on? Like, you'll get the urge to.
Probably the second one. I'd like the first one. I'd like to have the willpower to be like, nah, this is not productive.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'd probably get very bored. But yeah, I would like to be very aggressive and like with productivity. Like, all right, no, stop wasting time. Like, no, can't. Just let's go. Come on, man.
No matter what.
Yeah. But
you would say though that you'd probably get more. You said it was a necessity, so you get more benefit from it than it being a hindrance.
Yeah, I think it's like 50-50.
50-50. It's not.
You talking about YouTube?
Yeah, I guess I was thinking internet. I'm kind of morphing them together. Yeah. Internet as a whole, you would say.
I use the internet for watching YouTube videos, playing video games, and programming.
Well, and finding like solutions to problems.
Sure. Let's put programming and everything else productive in that other pot.
You would say that's 50-50?
Okay, it's what did I say? Watching YouTube videos, playing games. There's entertainment.
Mm.
Entertainment and then like productivity / work.
Right.
Yeah, I'd say it's 50-50. If you looked at the hours I spent.
Yeah.
Maybe 60-40, as in 60 the work and productivity.
Yeah, actually that's true. Actually, if anything, yeah, it'd probably be less.
Yeah.
It'd probably be like 70-30 if anything.
Probably. Can you imagine if you had the willpower to just swap that out?
Well, because I was also thinking, I guess, when you put in the perspective of how much time you spend versus like how many actions you make, like how many times I actively search for, like, I don't know, something useful,
mm-hmm.
like different parts on my car to replace that I need to replace.
Would it be useful if you had a monitor always live in your room that just shows you stats of like your usage, your time usage?
They have that on your phone. You're saying,
right? But like,
if it was like
it was just on there. It's just wherever you spend most of the time.
Okay.
It's just there, and then like that way
you would know.
It's always there at a glance, and you'd be like, oh shoot, I gotta like. I think that would be because I feel like when you're blind to some of this info, like for example, I don't know how to get it up again, but YouTube has this thing, statistics, that shows you like your usage time
mm-hmm.
and how much time you spend, how many hours you spend a week and a day watching YouTube videos.
Right.
And then when I saw it, I'm like, holy moly.
Yeah,
like,
I don't think I've ever seen the number. I've seen it on my phone. Like I saw like, it was something like, there was like a large percentage of Snapchat. And then I realized like, the content I'm getting from Snapchat is like not very good,
mm-hmm.
so I ended up uninstalling it. But yeah, that's a good point. If I had a visual representation constantly seeing, I think you're right.
Let's
I think
think
I'd
about
probably
this.
be like,
how do we spell this out? Like, okay, let's say we were to make our own tool or whatever that just showed that.
I think they already have it. I don't think you even need to build a tool.
Okay, and what? But do you know the details? Like, what are we tracking here? What are they tracking?
They're tracking like active usage, because you could easily just have the app on your phone while you're downstairs.
Active usage of what?
I'm
talking about everything.
Of any application that you use on your computer.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if they have that on your phone, I'm assuming they have some sort of.
But how do you differentiate?
program.
But would it say you spent this many hours on Google Chrome, or would it say you spent this many hours
on
Google Chrome on YouTube?
Yeah, it would be that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if there is something, but I could imagine if they have that application on your phone, I don't see why they wouldn't have that on your computer.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't even know. Like the hard part with that is like on my phone, it's easy because I could just uninstall the app.
Mm-hmm.
You can't uninstall YouTube from your computer.
Well, it's not so much uninstall, but then if you were able to track the metric, then you can just be like, all right, I can't watch YouTube videos anymore.
And also, if you
for the day,
let's say you do use, like, there are some useful reasons you have YouTube installed on your computer.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe 10% or 20% of it is useful to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be more of a pain for me to like uninstall and then reinstall it every time I need to use it.
You don't have to uninstall though. I got uninstall.
How else would I not use it?
Just
like,
don't. Just stop.
I don't have the willpower for that.
That's it. No, I'm not saying uninstall, but I'm saying like if you see it's like
you think
YouTube views is at an hour
yeah.
for the day, and then you're like, well, shit, I haven't been watching any tutorials. Okay, I gotta stop. Like, You gotta stop watching for the day or something.
Yeah, I guess maybe you would lower it, but I find that hard.
And not even just lower it, just like remind yourself to go do something productive.
Right.
Right? Because like every time I whip open the YouTube, it's like, fresh, clean start. I haven't been doing, like, there's no like, have I been watching YouTube all day? I don't know. I don't think so. That doesn't come up, right? Yeah. You just turn on, you're like, all right, this is
just time to go.
Time to be entertained.
But I was thinking with, like, on Snapchat, when I had it installed, I was aware of the fact that, okay, like, a lot of the content I'm getting from here is, like, not very useful to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was still looking through it, but the only time, like, I actually didn't look at it completely was when I uninstalled it. So I don't know if... I feel like you'd still somehow be mentally tricked into going down the YouTube rabbit hole, even if you had it installed and were aware of the fact that it's not productive, or most of the time you use it, it's not productive.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You can hear one of them.
Yeah, I don't think...
Can they pick it up?
We'll watch, don't say anything. Yeah, technically I think you can, but...
Oh, well.
I don't think... I think it'll be pretty minimal. Let's see. Let's think here.
So for this week, are you going to work on any endeavor, or is it pretty much consumed by this computer?
Yeah, I mean, the computer will, once the power supply comes, that's when my time is going to be spent on that. But the rest should be programming, although I will say I have not been productive in programming, or the progress I make is really slow. And again, a lot of that is just opening up a YouTube tab and then just watching videos, and then time just goes by.
Slowly. I was thinking of not taking a year off, but doing a certificate program at Duke and then traveling for a year.
Do you have to get into that, or do you just pay money and then you can start it?
You just pay money. It's like you don't have to take any like test to get accepted into the program.
And what is the title?
But it's significantly...
What is the title of this program?
It's called Digital Marketing and Media, and it's all online, so it would be kind of like work at your own pace, and it's offered from Duke. But I like the fact that it's a lot cheaper than if I did a master's or a higher level degree. Do you think the stuff you learn from like online courses or YouTube tutorials would be much different from a master's program? I guess we don't really know because we've never been in one. But because Mom was also thinking of doing a master's in what was it? Video production or something like that.
It'll be different in this way. One, it'll be different in that you will be able to network with people. Not to say you can't on the internet, but you'll be connected with these professors who are connected with the industry, possibly. The other thing is, it helps if you're going into these things and you already have a good understanding of a lot of things, and then you can help refine it. So these professors have, let's just say there's many ways to do something, but there's these very good ways that you are better. They're going to teach you the good, better ways, or I guess I should say the best way of doing said things.
Do you think that? Because sometimes I feel like for example, one of my friends was in a marketing class and they never even taught her about digital marketing. Would you say that? I mean, I guess it really depends, but you would say on average, the professor will know more about how to get into the industry than if you learned online, or?
Yeah, I mean, I guess digital marketing might be different. Yeah, actually, I don't know.
Yeah.
Your friend took a marketing class and they didn't teach her about digital marketing?
Yeah. Like they taught about like radio, billboards.
See, that's all they know. Those are the traditional old-fashioned ones.
Because I feel like sometimes when you, like, I guess maybe I'm just lazy, but if I was a professor and I was teaching a course, maybe I would update the curriculum every year.
Yeah, you should.
You should, right?
You should always be up to date.
But like, I could imagine after maybe 30 years or 40 years, you're like, all right, like, let's just teach the same thing.
Yeah, well, that makes you a bad teacher.
So I'm not in the teaching profession.
Yeah.
But I can imagine that's probably why he or she hasn't changed his.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, well, right? I guess. Yeah, I wouldn't trust other people. There's few qualified people in anything.
Right.
So, but you won't know that. So
you could get the same thing from an online course too, but at least the fact that there's like comments and stuff. I feel like you get a better...
Our third host is here. Please come.
Please.
Yeah.
We need you. You could get a better understanding of like, okay, the feedback from these students are like, some of this information isn't updated or isn't all there.
Speaking of teaching and stuff, education.
Hi.
Hello. Where were you?
Sorry, I was a bit late. I was at a very interesting meeting. It was the California Writers Group and basically supporting local writers. And what I found interesting is legally, I think the state of California, and I have to do a bit more research in this, has declared a month in October is a Writers' Week, where local writers are promoted and their work is promoted. But so that was kind of where I was and didn't want to leave too early. But what are you bantering about?
Well, Daniel was just talking about his marketing class that he was going to take, but then he also was asking, well, do you think
there's a huge difference between new media of learning, like learning through online courses and YouTube videos, versus going into like a master's program or
so here's something interesting. They were looking for volunteers at this meeting, and particularly marketing volunteers. And somebody just immediately jumped up and said, yes, I will volunteer and do work. And what I found interesting, of course, having no experience in marketing, but also considering that it's about social media, your original question is about, is there a difference between marketing in general and...
No. Is there a difference between higher learning, doing it through new media, so doing it through online courses or certificate programs?
Taking online classes versus going into a traditional program. For example, his friend took a marketing class, and they didn't teach her about digital marketing. They only taught her about traditional marketing through billboards and kind of analog
newspapers and old media.
That is interesting that happened. I mean,
it's probably just a bad professor. But
it could be somebody who's not really up to the higher level, but it could also be the principles of marketing, which regardless of the materials or the process could be the same. I don't know, that the number of eyes that see something will have the impact on sales,
or even learning about, like, if you're into history and you wanted to learn about US history. In our curriculum there was a chapter on Native Americans, but I feel like there wasn't enough about maybe, I don't know, African American influence on history other than slavery, and maybe, what Native Americans were doing. So I'm saying, like, do you think, I guess it's really case by case, but do you think what would you say are the pros and cons of each?
So as I'm listening to you and then thinking of a situation we were in yesterday where we saw a play that resonated very much with your father and me because of our experiences. And so my question is, with the level of globalization that we're at and with the level of experiences that we're at, if we say, look at education 50 years ago, there was a fairly monotonous way or a what's the word, with a single or a very limited focus. Now when you look at, not only are we trying to incorporate multiple different levels of experiences in multiple different ways, is our education system already behind what society in general wants to do?
I'm just gonna close the curtain.
And so, so the example that we gave was this play that we watched by, I think his name is Ayad Akhtar, I want to say. He's a Pulitzer Prize winning writer. Munim and I sat and we were transfixed with, the religious and other arguments that these people were making. And then as we were driving home, we read the review in the local paper, and it had very kind of mild reviews. And so we were leaving thinking, wow, that was one performance, one play, and we found fascinating. I'm thinking of your friend who took this class, to the teacher who taught it, and maybe some of the other students, it might have been, wow, what a class that was. But for your friend, it was, that was a waste of time.
Well, not that it was a waste of time. I think it was more of like, oh, that's interesting, like that you're working in digital marketing and, these are the things that you're learning, because they didn't teach that in the course that I was taking or in the program that I was in. I think that was more, I don't think that they were saying like, oh, this is a stupid class. Like they taught us outdated things. It was more of like, oh, that's interesting that you're doing this in the industry, and what we were learning was a little different.
Yeah, and to me that triggers the thought, well, it's really up to you to, even if you're taking classes, it's kind of up to you to do the learning, even if,
But how can you know the learning until you've actually experienced the work? And that...
Yeah. Well, you have to go out and do it to get that experience, I guess. Depending on your profession, if you can use the internet to get those nuggets, figure out, oh, people are advertising not just on billboards, but here on the internet through these different media platforms. If you can start connecting those dots on your own, then yeah, that'll help you. Then you could pick a class that is going to focus on these things as opposed to just a general marketing class.
So you're putting the responsibility on the individual, on the student.
I think that's always the case.
Just like if you just think about the first there had to have been a first person to learn some sort of something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, nobody taught Benjamin Franklin about electricity. He just had to go connect the dots.
Right, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? That's why you learn from teachers, because they've already studied what these people have done. And
right.
Then you can learn.
Well, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but you should analyze the wheel and understand kind of how it works.
Right.
Because otherwise what happens is you sign up for a marketing class and they don't teach you about digital marketing.
Can you since this is WittyBantr, can you clarify the metaphor there? You've got a wheel and then you're reinventing it.
Yeah, Daniel said don't reinvent the wheel.
As in, you don't have to be like Benjamin Franklin trying to discover electricity again.
Yes,
you could.
I appreciate that comment. It was correct. I'm not critiquing the comment. I'm just thinking through the metaphor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? No. I have heard the metaphor. I'm saying
yes, I understand.
Because Nabil responded not with he responded to the wheel metaphor.
I took your metaphor and I added something to it. Michael's here. Sorry, I'm late. I just finished reading Faisal's novel.
Which one, Faisal? Which novel that has Faisal written?
I don't know. But anyway, back to my thing. Yeah, basically that means so you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to learn everything from the basics about the wheel. Like you don't. I'm trying to break down how a wheel works.
The metaphor of it.
Yeah, well, even just how a wheel works. If you really want to get nitty gritty here.
Yes. So the axle and the
yeah. So
circular,
let's say
shape.
you don't know. You don't need to know how to make an axle. What materials you can make an axle out of. What tools you need to make an axle. But you need to understand how an axle, what its function is, and that's it. And then the different functions of the wheel. So let's say the hub, what do you call it? The little nut that connects the wheel to the axle.
Or if we're thinking of the wheel metaphor, maybe we're really thinking, what is this wheel being used for?
Yeah, that too. That would be another good question.
Is this a wheel that is part of our
cart, I imagine?
Oh, no, not necessarily. Is it a part of a cart, or is it part of a at the bottom of a trolley, a small serving trolley?
And that might affect what class you're going to take. You don't want to take a class which is going to study the dynamics of a high-speed wheel because you're going to be using the wheel in a low-speed application.
A bullock cart wheel.
Yeah, so or a trolley that's going to be going 2 miles an hour.
Trolley 101.
Or not even a wheel that's going to move something. It's a wheel that's going to move the belt. What's it called? The
belt of a car?
Yes.
Right.
So
yeah, I guess back to the point.
Well, the main point
you need to know the use.
You need to understand the system. You don't need to really go in depth Benjamin Franklin style and start from nothing.
Yeah.
But you need to go out and do some homework. Okay, I want to get into marketing. Well, what does that mean? And what are the different types of marketing? Right. Your friend said, "Oh, they didn't teach me about digital marketing." I mean, if I was growing up in this age, I mean, I haven't taken a marketing class, but first day, or if I didn't see digital marketing in the syllabus, I'd be like, hey, I know that exists. At least she should have known it existed.
Right.
And then questioned, do we cover this?
Now, could this apply to all disciplines?
That's exactly what I was going to say. So if you're saying that for, like, if you were interested in doing, like, or looking at programs of, like, video or, and in your mind, I guess you should always do your own homework no matter what the thing is. But to a certain point, you do want to understand, like, okay, like, what should I be? Like, you want to be kind of know what direction each area is, which is why you might take a general course, just to understand, like, okay, what is there, first of all, before I even jump in and do my own homework. I mean, I guess I could see that being the argument of maybe, like, okay, maybe they should at least provide some sort of guidance on, like, okay, these are all the different types of marketing. We're just going to be focusing on this right now.
So on the argument of the students not taking responsibility, you have to have a certain level of social capital to take responsibility.
True.
If you've been exposed to it, as opposed to if you haven't been exposed to certain ideas.
Well, I agree. But do you argue that a library, internet, and a cheap laptop is asking too much in the realm of social capital?
I do feel that sometimes when people have to work a couple of jobs, sometimes three, and they, by the time you get home, you're tired.
Right.
You do not want to go online because you've been, at a cash register all day.
Yeah.
Looking at a monitor, and so you don't want to do that.
I guess, but I guess the only thing I'd say is you're leaving your future in the hands of other people, and let me just say, nobody cares about you more than you. Or at least that's how it should be.
That's true. Which is why I do like. So in university, I liked when professors were actively doing, like, some sort of research project or were in the field in some way. That way, at least I have a good understanding of, like, okay, if I do go into the one-on-one, I know this person has connections, like you were saying. Because we were saying some of the benefits of of university are the personal connections versus just taking an online course, which is nice. And if they have experience in the field, that's an even bigger plus. So would that be a negative with maybe online courses, you would say?
Well, so the meeting that I was just at was a group of somewhat novice writers. They're not in a master's program or they haven't studied creative writing, but everyone feels that they have a story to tell, and some people feel compelled to write that story. And I think going back to taking responsibility, here were a group of people who we put in an application to show that we were serious about our writing and pay a minimal fee just to commit. It's not an astronomical fee. But now we're all taking responsibility of finding things that you need to know. Some people wanted to know about blogging and how writers need to have a platform. Other people wanted to know more about editing. Some people were talking about looking at beta readers, like you have beta readers for coding, I guess.
Beta testers,
Beta testers. So the business of writing, but it wasn't, these are people with, I think probably majority of them had college education, but even if they didn't, they were not looking for college level they were looking for college level support, but without going to college, on how to be writers and how to get published and how to stay engaged and continue to write. So that is another way of learning, and sometimes the motivation of the individual to participate in that is so strong that they will learn at a much higher level, maybe by searching out conferences and groups like this than signing up for a class.
I agree. I agree.
Are we going to have a pregnant pause here?
Yeah.
Should we experiment with that?
Yeah, let's do that. I could hear the Windows updates on that computer.
Yeah, I was wondering, was that from upstairs or from
No, it had to have been
this one?
Yes.
I think so, but that's okay.
It stops going to sleep.
It's okay. I'm okay with some noise pollution. It adds some character to our podcast.
Yes. A moment ago, we heard Monem upstairs on the phone.
Yes, I'm not even sure it's going to be picked up here, but that's just the sounds of life.
We're experimenting with not bantering. No wit, no banter.
Yes, some may argue we had none. Life. Some may argue we had none to begin with.
Yeah, at the start. There was that made me think of, like, whenever we're in the car.
Yes.
I picked this up from Nabil, but sometimes, like, when you're driving to work or driving somewhere, like, you'll just have the radio on and whatever music you have on your phone. But sometimes I just, like, don't have it on, and then you just listen to the sounds of life. And it's just
the sounds
silent
of the road and the car. And yeah, it's very sobering experience.
Although I don't know how sobering it would be if you tested that in, like, Pakistan or somewhere where there's just beep beep beep.
Yeah, that would be very annoying.
Chaotic.
But you guys are still bantering.
Oh yeah.
Oh, are we just gonna be silent?
I don't know.
Well, we just picked it up. It just came to mind.
Yeah.
We can have by experimenting with the silence. I mean, like we can be quiet for 10. Well, you can be quiet for as long as you want, but if something comes up and you want to talk about it, then feel free.
Yeah. Are you trying to do forced silence? Is that what, like, just because that would be interesting?
How do I be a better person?
What does it mean to be a better person?
I mean, a more productive person. I want to, as soon as I catch myself doing something non-productive, I'm like, oh, okay, no, all right, let's go, come on.
Why is productivity so important?
Makes me feel good after I do it. I mean, yeah.
What would you define as productive?
Instead of spending 2-3 hours a day on YouTube, I spent that programming.
So one of the people in this group that I was at, because that's what I just attended, he gets up in the morning, he's someone who's retired, and writes for 7 hours. And he's written about 7 books in 4 years. But
I like how you phrase that. He gets up in the morning and writes for 7 hours. You mean every day he just writes for 7 hours?
That's a good point.
Yes, I don't know why.
Because he could be waking up at like 12 p.m.
Well, usually when you say it like that, you're like, he gets up and brushes his teeth. That takes 5 minutes. Oh.
What does Michael have to say?
I have a friend that needs help with some party attending RSVP flaking etiquette. Can the WittyBantr crew help him out with some witty advice? Well, we can try. Yeah, go ahead, ask your question away. And we'll wait in silence.
No, but he needs flaking. He's told us the question.
Oh, that is the question?
That is the question. He wants to flake out.
Oh, right. Attending.
Well,
okay, he wants to know. I already know.
The etiquette of...
Yes.
Right. With the rules on attending RSVPing. Attending,
so
you don't have to go anywhere.
What if you're invited somewhere and then you accept it and then later you're like, I don't want to go, and then you tell the person I don't want to go?
It'd be
don't
great.
tell them you don't want to go.
Or sorry, I have this excuse that just came up.
Oh.
Although honestly,
you can just say you can't go. It's unavoidable. You can just say that.
So what's the reason?
Well,
or do you
no. You just say it's unavoidable.
Oh, but you told me 2 weeks ago that you could come.
I'm telling you, something has come up and it's unavoidable.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, sorry. But I think the best solution is,
Never.
really understand. Like, if you're going to say you're going to go, try to go. And if right from the beginning you said, I'm not going to go, then that's perfect. Because, obviously... I mean, it's the same feeling, kind of, to like if you ordered a package from Amazon and they said, it's going to come this Tuesday. And then you're like, no, it's Tuesday. I didn't get it. Yeah, sorry, it's not going to come Tuesday. It's going to come next Tuesday. You know what I mean? Then you're like, it's that same feeling.
So whose fault is
No,
it's no one's fault, but it's just be decisive. If it's truly unavoidable, then there's nothing you can do. If it was you had a change of heart, you're like, I don't feel like going anymore.
Yeah.
Try and have that feeling before.
That I agree with. But as the person who's inviting, my theory at least is a lot of people have expectations in life in general, but a lot of people have expectations that if I invite someone and they're like, oh yeah, like that sounds like a good idea, or yeah, I'll go. And then maybe a week down the line, they don't want to go.
Yeah.
Never take it personally.
Yes.
Oh,
that person doesn't want to go.
Yeah.
Like, you should just expect that no one's going to show up.
Yes.
The only time I think that maybe you could get your feelings hurt is if you made the purchase. But then again, that was on you. Like, if you had a wedding or something and the person just like,
hints, Michael. Take notes, Michael.
So like, let's say if Michael invited you to his wedding, and then, like, and you RSVP, and like, yeah, I think that sounds chill.
Yeah, I'll probably go to your wedding.
And then the day before, you're just like, on second thought, there's gonna be a lot of traffic on the way there.
Yeah. Well, that's why I've changed my attitude to, how when someone suggests an idea and you're like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Yeah, I'd probably go. I say no right from there.
You just say, yeah.
It's like, no, probably not.
Yeah. And then if you do go, or if you
I lean towards the side of, it better be some crazy good idea.
Yeah.
If you're just telling me some regular idea, then...
No, but... So
that's true. Lean in that direction, but I still think on the host part, you should never get offended if someone doesn't come up or doesn't show up.
Yes. Because they found another way to have more fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it's like, so clearly your idea wasn't that fun if they're not going to it.
Yeah. And I've heard people make the argument like, oh, there's a culture. I'll just skip what I was going to say. Would you be upset if someone said they were too scared to come to your party because they might get a speeding ticket if they have to drive that far? Would I be upset?
I would notice that that's probably an excuse of my party sucks and this person doesn't want to come.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about that. So one response could be, well, why don't you just drive the speed limit?
Yeah, that's also one.
But my counter argument to that is, if you already know you have an issue with it, it might not be as easy as, yeah, just go the speed limit. That's like, go tell an alcoholic to drink moderately. It sounds easy, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Or someone to not eat the cookies.
Exactly. So this person who has an issue speeding, they are eliminating the root of the problem by not even driving at all.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
so that's pretty responsible.
Now that's not very... It's not manageable in a lot of aspects in life. I mean, it's depending on where you live.
You're right.
But fair enough. If this person is trying to eliminate a problem, and they're going to cut it off the root. So that's their excuse to not go to your party. Then,
and it is a way to know who's your real friend. Because if you don't go, and this person gets upset, then you think, well, you clearly don't want me to be happier.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, you should be happy that the person you're invited is happy, or is happier now.
Yes,
or,
yes.
Yeah. It's like this is a breakup scenario, but yeah, that's a good point.
Also, like, what are with these people? Like, have you never been? I mean, this is the same kind of people who are laughing at those jokes. I'm like, yeah, we've been to like a regular party before 1 million times. What makes you think this is going to be any better than any of the other ones I've been to?
Are you exposing your true self?
Yeah, I mean, but I'm just saying, logically speaking, it's like...
Is this your first rodeo?
Is this your first time ever having a party? Like, like if you were like, yeah, also, by the way, like Elon Musk is going to be unveiling his new rocket ship. You're like, okay, that sounds like something really cool. If you're going to say, yeah, we're just going to have some sodas and pizza, I'll be like, ooh, I can do that right here. Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, I also get the whole aspect of you trying to spend time with people.
Yeah.
And I guess that can be cool, but...
It should just be like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, like, don't take it personally.
I don't know if that advice helped, Michael.
If you're trying to spend time with people, think of something a more meaningful
that they'll enjoy,
or that both parties will enjoy.
Yeah, right.
Maybe you should.
If you want to
coming over to my house is a more burden on them because they have to drive all the way over.
If you want to just talk, there's something called the internet where there's like voice chatting applications, FaceTime. Put a camera up. Order each person orders a pizza for themselves. And then the cool thing is, if I'm annoyed with someone, I can mute them whenever I want. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. But people, I think, they're just not ready to progress to the next level of humanity.
You think this is inevitable?
You think
they think like if I said that, they think that was silly.
Yeah.
They'd be like, Nabil, you're silly. I'm not gonna have a party over the internet.
Wait when VR comes out.
Wait 100 years in the future when everyone does this, and then people are going to
play
be
this video back.
Yeah.
Do you feel we've hit on an idea that we should try out? We should say, join us for a WittyBantr party.
Yeah.
Buy yourself a pizza.
Now, how do we... And it's just one big,
everybody
voice
buy their
chat.
own pizza.
Yeah.
And...
See, I told you, Mom.
Everyone's just pretty much saying the host is an idiot and confirming my initial thoughts on the guy. This advice is helping along. Well, we're glad to help.
Yeah, we're here to help. But on formalities as well. So that's kind of like the etiquette of inviting people and hosting a party. Yeah. I also feel like
you have to be close enough to the person to be able to do that.
To do what?
To be able to stand them up.
Yeah,
kind of, yeah.
That's true.
If you haven't built that relationship...
Well, even if you aren't close, you could come at the angle of, well, I don't care. Who cares? I'm not that close to this person.
Yes, that means you don't want to build the relationship.
Right. These ones might hurt a bit more, the ones that you're close to, depending on the person.
I would say argue...
Actually, you're right. You're right.
Yes.
Because if you were as close, it wouldn't be a big deal.
Yes, it would just have a laugh over it and say...
Yeah, you'd be like, all right, whatever.
I threw this whole damn party and you're not coming? No, sorry.
Sorry, I'd rather shout.
Exactly.
Because you could be more honest with the person.
Yeah.
I agree.
But yeah, the other formality I was thinking of, I'm not sure if I brought it up on the podcast earlier, or previous podcast, but on the formality of leaving someone's home,
yes.
I'm glad that the direction is shifting towards ghosting, where like
What's
you don't
ghosting?
Ghosting means like leaving without saying anything.
Yeah, like you don't have to say the hostess.
No, I said goodbye before I left the event I was at.
You can, but I'm saying like if the host is in the middle of a conversation,
yes,
I'm not gonna break up that conversation just so I can. Hey everyone, I'm leaving. Say
your
bye to me.
Pakistani genes are kind of
I would rather
dissipating then. Because we do that.
Thing?
Yeah, Pakistani thing is we stand for hours or prolong the party to say goodbye.
Okay, I would rather disappear than disrupt their
Depends
conversation.
on the size, maybe, right? If there's only 5 people,
that's
just
true.
wait, like try and wait for a lull, and then be like, all right, guys, like I'm gonna head out.
Actually, I have ghosted.
That would be weird.
That's the
if it was only 5 people, and like one of them left, then you'd be like, hey, what's his name?
Yeah, that'd be so funny. Just imagine if we had like Faisal.
Yeah, if literally it was like me, you, and G, and Faisal, and then like G just left. I'd be like, what?
Dude, I would die.
See, that would be weird. But yeah, a bigger event, I agree. Like,
it's just, it's not needed. I don't think.
Yeah.
And if the host gets offended, again, I think that.
So Faisal says he's familiar with ghosting. Michael says at Assyrian parties, the real party starts at the door when people try to leave.
Oh, that's the same thing in
Pakistan. Same thing, and I'm sure in many
Asian
non-Western, non-European
yes.
communities.
That's true. Yeah. I think we solved that one.
Yeah, another riddle solved.
We should start like an advice podcast almost.
Never heard of that one before.
Because our wit is no longer there.
Yeah.
So you
I only say that because Jake and Amir does that, and then
you're saying
Tiger
it's
Belly,
been done before.
Tiger Belly do that at the end of their podcast.
Oh,
like they take people's emails and they try and give them advice.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not against it. But.
Yeah.
But you're not in favor of it.
I'm just saying it's not original. I'm just saying it's not an original idea.
But as we've stated previously, there's no as original, right?
Yeah. It's not so much... originality is not important. It's like value.
Yeah.
It's what value you're bringing.
Although...
I guess you don't have to make it a formal thing like, okay, and now we're reading out questions. It's more of like what this is now.
What would your pizza party be? The one that's kind of the online pizza party where...
Yeah.
What would you call that?
Just hanging out. On the internet.
Virtual hangout.
It's not called a party.
You could call it a party.
Actually, yeah. Just call it a party and then it becomes the new definition.
Yeah. It's a redefined party.
Yeah.
Really break the mold, you know?
The only problem is I feel like a lot of people don't have the best internet, and then the...
the only thing is if you're... Yeah, I mean, you probably want to invest in a better camera, because if you're using your laptop camera, it's kind of hard to capture an environment, so to speak.
Do you need the environment since you chose not to go?
Well, I mean,
could you not just have a cutout or a photograph?
You could, but I mean, I'm saying if you're trying to kind of have that whole face-to-face interaction, if you value that, then it's better to get a decent camera and microphone, because we don't want those staticky microphones
or background noise.
Yeah. Oh, actually, that's another thing. Like I don't like, for instance, I get annoyed when like people eat in the microphone. And then when there's a lot of background noise, I mean, I guess if you have dynamic microphones. This is a condenser microphone, not good for, because it picks up a lot of noise.
Is that what it's called? A dynamic one?
These are the ones you use in like live shows. You can get really good ones for $100. There's some for $50.
Maybe like, let's say in this party program you have...
Faisal can either confirm or deny these allegations.
In this party program you have like, basically like the gatekeeper. You have like the gatekeeper, and it's like, if you don't have the microphone you were saying the setting, if then you're not allowed in the party.
Well, there should be whoever is there should be an admin of the
Evite.
Right, of the I guess you can use the Discord application or Skype or something. Mm-hmm. Someone should be an admin where they, if somebody has bad audio quality, they kick them out.
Allowed in. Could you imagine being denied to a virtual party?
I mean, similar to like World of Warcraft, where
you're not qualified.
So in World of Warcraft, there's end game content,
yes,
which is more advanced,
yes.
And generally, you have to organize a group, and people fill out applications to join these guilds. And then it's very much the same thing. If you're in a guild and you're not performing, they'll step you aside in a separate little chat thing and be like, "Hey, like unfortunately,
we're gonna have to let you
go."
Because they want to make sure that.
Because here's the thing, though: these teams are like 20 people teams, and managing. Basically, you have to have 20 people do things simultaneously, very quickly.
Yes.
Because if somebody messes up in 2 seconds, it could ruin the whole.
So, people, have you ever been asked to leave the party?
No, I've only been part of one guild, and that was with Daniel.
Yeah,
but I think he has more raiding experience.
So this exact scenario happened to me actually, because I was playing with a guild that was serious. Like, I didn't have to do an application, but they were still like serious. Like, oh, you get on at this time. We finished the raid at this time and all that. And there was a scenario where I was online, so they can see that I'm online. And Nabil and Faisal were playing, and they were like, "Oh, Daniel, we need a replacement for this spot on this raid group."
But you didn't feel like doing it.
Well, I was playing with them, so it was like I was like, "Oh, like I'm kind of playing with my friends right now." And then they're like, "No, you either join this or you're out." And at first I was like, "All right, guys," like I said bye to them. Yeah, and they're like, "Really, you're gonna leave us for these like losers?" And then I was like, "All right, I guess I'll join them." And then
see, that's where friends can bring you down. We didn't let you excel with this raiding guild. This is where.
So you chose to stay with them.
I
chose to be mediocre.
Yeah. With the real losers.
Yes.
But yeah, that's fine.
So I don't know how we got on that tangent, but that's
the
similar
party.
etiquette.
Not
like
being allowed
etiquette of allowing people in this virtual group,
right?
Which I guess you have in real life too.
And I can imagine a lot of people would be offended. Some people who don't understand technology, they'll be like, "I'm on my webcam."
Would they talk like that?
I don't know. I'm just making a voice, and then they'll be like, "Sorry, we're gonna have to let you go." What do you mean? Are you gonna kick me out because of my can't? Because the other thing is the problem with this is like they don't hear the quality of their own voice.
Yeah.
Oh, so they don't.
So it's hard for people to imagine. Like, what do you mean, Mike? How do I sound bad?
Maybe they need to hear themselves.
But that's okay, because it's a learning experience.
But what we're talking about is not being told to leave. It's not wanting to go is the bigger problem.
Well,
in this case, you're not going, right?
Well, if you don't want to attend this party, just don't go to the party.
Yeah.
But we're just talking about. I had suggested that, if you're gonna have a normal party, just do it over the internet.
I think the reason why you would have this virtual party is it gets rid of those factors that might deter you from going to a party, which is like traffic or driving or going across all the way across the East Bay to go to this party and then have to worry about like, okay, I can't drink because I have to come back. Where you can just do it in the comfort of your own home.
You can just take an Uber, but then that costs money. But
I'm saying
if there's nothing spectacular going to happen that you have to be there to see it,
right?
And I don't see why. And you can get personal, like on a you can get intimate on a Skype call.
I hear.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
and we did it on this podcast.
Yeah,
before.
See, we're not even seeing people, and we're having a conversation.
How do we know the M and the F are the people that we think they are?
Well, it says it right next to the M and the F.
Well, are you saying somebody hacked in? And,
yes.
And maybe. Well, very specific.
Yeah.
You'd have to know that they watch WittyBantr. I mean, if they're subscribed to it, then maybe.
Yes. Maybe it's one of our other 14 subscribers who's pretending to be M or F.
Maybe.
It's funny because they've kind of already started doing this idea in, one in video games and just
video games
and virtual reality
comes hand in hand.
Kind of come up with these ideas.
So this was something that Manim
and
I were asking.
Beep,
yes, how does the M and the F get selected? Just the first letter of the email?
Yeah, it just pulls the first letter. If you don't have a picture, then it'll pick.
I have my LinkedIn profile picture as my.
So how are we going to crush it today? Are any of you going to crush it today?
Well, no, we already crushed it with the silence.
Yeah.
No. I'm talking about like being. What are you working on? Are you working on anything today?
Well, I just said I went to.
No. I know you did, but I'm talking about right now. Are you going to work on some writing?
Oh yes. I need to write some essays about. One, I need to write about what made me write the novel that I wrote. So I'm thinking about that. The other that I'm really interested in writing is called the threads that bind, and it's about the role of different kinds of thread, and it connects primarily to a memory, which is not my memory, but my sister's memory, of a World War II veteran in Jagwal who used to undo sweaters, unravel sweaters, and then re-knit them again on his homemade knitting needles. And one, it was a man who was knitting, and two, he's knitting on homemade knitting needles. And just that fascination of threads and how they are woven together and have been, and how it can be a very calming thing, because I've just been knitting, even though my knitting is not very good, but it's a very calming process.
So are you going to really hit that as soon as this program is over?
I will try to hit that as soon as this program is over, to finish that essay.
You're going to crush it?
Yeah. What about you? Are you have anything you're going to do?
I'm going to spin
you don't have
it.
to. You don't have to.
Yeah, I was
going
to say.
Spin it.
Oh, is that instead of crush it, you're going to spin it?
Because it's thread.
Oh.
Okay. What about weave it? I'm going to bob and weave it.
Bob and weave.
Okay, I will bob and
what the
weave
hell is
it.
bob?
Bob is
it's... No. Bob is like a bobbin.
We're talking
What
about
is
two
that?
different things. This is bob and weave is a...
I'm talking about bob and weave like...
is a tactic
tactic
Yes.
in
like this?
boxing.
Yeah. Oh, but that's also when you weave thread with a bobbin.
I think it's this. What's a bob in?
A bobbin is a spool with thread on it.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
when you weave, it goes in and out to...
I think that's
Oh,
where
really?
that comes
Yes.
Oh,
I
I didn't
think
even know
so.
that. Interesting.
I think so.
from. Like bob and water. Oh, Michael's like cross stitching, like bob and water.
Cross stitching. That is interesting. Where the heck did Michael
Bob and
come up
water.
with cross stitching? Did he ever
Because you were
learn?
talking about...
No. It is an actual thing.
Bob and weave.
No, the cross stitching.
Oh yeah, no.
There's a stitch called cross stitch,
Oh,
and you make pictures out of it.
To move up and down, a cork bobbing on the water. Oh, I got it.
Okay.
I get it.
Yeah, bob and weave is like a technique in boxing, I think, where it's like...
I don't know if it's a technique. I think it's just a way. It's a describing
just the
someone
movement.
who's like moving back and forth, left and right.
Okay.
Like that thing.
You could
and I
use it
think
in
it's related
anything.
to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
His grandma taught him how to stitch.
Yes. Nan.
Nan.
Shouts out to Nan.
Did you ever learn how to put remember you were once learning how to sew
Really?
a button on?
Yeah.
Long
I'm not very
time
good
ago.
though. I have very like fat, big fingers.
No, that doesn't make any difference.
Okay, well, I'm not very. The
Dexterous.
dexterity of my fingers is
Not
low.
there.
Okay.
I don't think I ever stitched anything.
I know Nabil wanted to learn how to do it, and I think he did
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm going to try and crush it. I'm going to put my computer back together, just kind of clean my room because I was trying to fix my computer issue. And I'm going to try and just put it back together and then just hit that code and try and hit that code and not watch YouTube videos because that's my problem.
Are we catching up with
Game of Thrones. I calculated. It's... The premiere happens in 24 days. We have about 5 seasons. You need to watch 2.7 episodes, 3 episodes
a day?
a day.
She's not going to make it.
We're going to crush it.
She's not going to make it. How about just eliminate season 7? That was pretty trash anyway, right?
Yeah, but you still need to watch it.
Can't you summarize it?
Just watch
No.
and when season 7
Yes.
comes up for you, just watch the little intro clips of each episode and then call it a day.
That's true.
The ones where it tells you what happened in the previous one.
Yes.
Because let's be real, season 7 was like...
But
Well, I'm watching it right now. It was actually
you're
pretty
watching that as well as the one that we're
Yeah.
watching?
Oh, because he's watching at work.
at work.
Oh.
So
what,
I think it's
what
still,
are you going
I
to
think it's
crush
worth it.
today?
He said he's not
Nothing.
going to crush
Yeah, I'm not
anything,
going to crush
which is
anything.
fine.
Yeah.
No.
But I want to like crush something.
Like some oranges.
No, just
Just
So
Productivity.
we had a metaphor of a wheel, well, it wasn't a metaphor, it was actually a party.
Mhm.
And then you're saying crushing. How
Yeah.
do all these things go together? How do we bring it all together?
just
Crushing the wheels crush the party.
yeah, you want to be
That
on.
sounds
Ghost.
like
You are the
ghost
wheel.
Ghost
Let's
crushes
just
the ghost makes the wheel to crush.
the wheel.
party on the road.
It's a wheel for like an earth drill, and you're crushing through the earth.
Yes.
And you know, if you're not crushing it, you're just going over the earth. We're trying to go in the earth.
But how do you get back out of the earth? You need a
ladder. Whatever, man. We'll figure out that later.
You need a ladder, and chaos is.
Why do you need to get out? You just need to stay in.
Yeah, we're just trying to get in there, man.
Because otherwise you can just keep popping out and then...
I don't want to come back out. The losers are up there. We're trying to go deep in.
Go deep into the earth.
To the center of the earth.
Bore down.
Yeah. Well, we're at 1 hour and 5 minutes. So should we just...
That was...
Well, you also joined late.
Yeah.
So late to the party.
we had to crush the first half of this.
Yeah. Should I just end it then?
I think you should.
Yes. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
By ghosting out.
I want more of these kind of episodes because it's pretty cool. All right. See ya.